What's happening, y'all? It is your boy Trev, and I am going to talk to you today about Rackoff token. I actually want to show you something really fast because if you decide that this is something that you want to get involved in, if you haven't been involved in it already, then we're at a spot where it's a really good time. So just looking at and understand, Rackoff is kind of all over the place, right? But we're gonna look at the BNB chart, which is right here, and we've been traveling along this line, right? This little corridor here, in the 508 range, going really sideways. Obviously, everyone's hoping that it would just kind of, I don't know, kind of launch from there. But just a little while ago, I noticed we hit a couple of red. I think these are 4-hour candles, right? Hit a couple of red 4-hour candles, and the last one was a really big dip, and took us down to 50s. Actually, it was much lower than that. You can see on the wick, it went down to 5046 around that area. And again, this is on the BNB side, right? It's come back up a little bit to 506, but this is a phenomenal place to enter should you decide that's what you want to do. I love pulling up my little regression tool, and I just want to see something, right? So if I went from here to, let me just put that there for now because I had to get rid of that thing. Okay, so if I went from here to, let's say here, okay? I know it's a little small, but you can see how far I've come with it. If I went from there to there, and I wanted to check the average of that zone right there, you can see that it averages it out. Some of it is in the blue, which I always consider to be a dollar cost average area, or I consider it to be a hold area, right? Some of it is in the red, and then some of it has kind of gone way up, right? So a lot of people say, well, once you're in that dollar cost average area or hold area, it's run up a little bit. You can see these green candles, right? It's run up a little bit. I'm going to make it bigger. I think I'm going to make it bigger. Let me see. How do I do this? All right. Let me do this, right? It's run up, and that's probably not a good time to buy on a big green candle like that. It's already run up quite a bit. Okay. But as time has gone on, if I stretch this thing out and I decide to put it over here, you can see that so much more of those candles now are in that blue area, and that big green candle starts to be in the red area a little bit. This thing has gone up so much that the longer you stretch it out, and I'll come all the way from beginning to end now, you will see that some of those green candles that you might have thought to yourself, and here's that one we were talking about, right? The green candles that you might have thought to yourself, oh, it's run up quite a bit now, it's too late to get in, I'll wait for a dip. As time has gone on, some of those candles are down in the red. And the red zone is a straight up buying zone. If this averages everything out, you know that everything below that center line in that red zone is on average lower than normal, right? So some of those areas, again, that were green are now in the red, right? In hindsight, because unfortunately a chart can only show you what's already happened, but in hindsight, you can look back and say, well, I mean, maybe I could have got in then, because look how much more it's gone up. And if you average it out, you can see that that was a really good buying zone. This is the thing. This is what we're talking about when we talk about Rackoff, as far as there not necessarily being any areas that are bad to get in. When we talk about how it is still relatively early, very early, okay? And this thing, as it keeps going up, you'll see that some of those areas that you thought, well, it was too late at that point to get in, they drop down into the red. They become actually lower than what the normal is, okay? Just things to consider. Just things to think about when you're determining whether or not this is a play that you want to get in, or when you want to get in, or whatever. But it's doing extremely well. So even though we hit that big red candle, because of how well it's done, even that big dip did not take us back. It did come down into that red zone a little bit, but you can see it's popped right back up, okay? And I'll make this a little bigger. I don't know if you can see there is a candle, the next 4-hour candle right after that red one, which so far is green. It's kind of sitting at the bottom of that red candle. It's sitting right there. But they're up in that blue zone. They're up in that hold'em zone. They're up in that dollar cost average in zone because it is done so well that even a big dip like that doesn't take it below average. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it is, at this point, a really, really good spot to get in if that's what you want to do. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Now, let's go over and look at the Terra Classic pair. So here we are again. I believe this is also the 4-hour chart. I think that's what I usually have them set to. And let me close this down so we can see more of the... And there's everything, right? There was, when it was kind of just trucking along. And then all of a sudden we started talking about it a little bit. Started taking off, right? But same thing. I will put that regression tool on this. And I'll start at the beginning and come right to the end. And you can see that where we are right now, same situation, right? And we also had a really big dip, right? It looked like 3 straight hours of red, 3 straight 4-hour sections, so 12 hours of red. And it came down, in Terra Classic, it came all the way down to 5055, somewhere around there. Came back up, settled in, and then we started that next green candle. And you can see it's already on the rise. People are buying up this dip because we've been sitting way up here in the 8s. So to come down into the 5s or the 6s, for a lot of people, I got to grab it. I got to grab some, right? But it's also a great area if you haven't got any yet to get some. Now, if I were to put a line straight across here, you can see the bottom wicks. This line would be touching. Let me see if I can do that real quick. I'm going to go with a horizontal line, and I just want to put it right here. Bam. And you can see that it's touching the bottom of 3 of these wicks, okay? So it's an area that it has come down to historically, right? Over the last few days or whatever. It's come down to that area, and that was it. That's it. Not going any lower than that. That's where a lot of people decided they wanted to jump in, buy it back in. And you see what happened on this first big red candle here. It hit that zone, right? And then went skyrocketing right back up, okay? Then we traveled sideways for a couple of days here. Last 12 hours, half a day, it's come back down. Listen, a lot of things going on. Roaring Kitty, right? Going crazy with GME and AMC's coming along for the ride. I'm noticing it in a lot of different plays that people have been kind of pulling out and saying, oh, let me move some money over here real quick in case this thing short squeezes, right? Like, that narrative that was going on a couple of years ago. So there's some of that going on, I'm sure. But again, these candles came down and hit that same line. That is a spot where people want to buy. This far, no further. And this green candle, it's same thing. Went down to that, bounced right back up, and now we're coming up. Now what's going to happen? Is it going to be another one of these big-ass red candles that came way the heck up here before it stops? And what did that come up to? That came up to 5099. Almost broke a zero, right? Almost lost the zero on that one. It could do that. I don't know, But again, if you wanted to get involved in this one, and I think that you've heard us talking about it quite a bit lately, you see all the people that are involved in this. Frag Dude, LL69, Redline Drifter, myself, for whatever that's worth, right? Rocco, right? So many people, big, decent name people that in this, on this chain anyway, pretty well, are getting involved in trying to get this word out for you on this one. It's going to do extremely well. Now, real quick on Project X. I don't really have anything new to report than kind of a tweet that I put out, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, where the development team that's developing Project X, they met, they started talking about milestones and different things, and they need to have another meeting to really kind of fine tune it, and then that's going to be submitted to our team, right, our core team, and say this is what they're going to say. This is what we want to do. This is how we want to do the milestones. And from the conversation that I had with the lead dev, friend of mine, is that they want to make sure that none of these milestones are ending in the middle of a development or a section of this development. Because at the end of every milestone, they want the team to then be able to test it, right? And you can't test it if it's half done. So they're figuring out how to do these milestones so that they end on a completed piece of this that can be tested, right? Tested, approved, everything's good, works the way we want it to work. It's going to do what we want it to do. Great. We'll go on, and now we'll get to the next milestone and build on that, right? So it's those kind of things that they're working out. They're supposed to be doing that sometime this week. If they do it, today, tomorrow, over the weekend, whenever it gets done, I'm sure I'll hear about it and I'll let you know. So Project X is full steam ahead, right? Paid for. There's really nothing that's going to stop that from happening, and it's going to happen. And the people, I'm telling you, this lead dev that's working on this thing is the shit, this guy. No doubt in my mind that this thing is going to be astronomical, phenomenal. Trader Rocco was just kind of filled in on it by LL yesterday, and he put out a tweet talking about how unbelievably excited he is now that he knows exactly what's going on. And everybody who knows what's going on is crazy excited about this. But that's not all that's happening. There are at least two other things that I'm aware of that are happening actually within the team, right? Between LL and Frag and, maybe Redline Drifters, starting to get involved with some of this stuff. There are some other things that are happening that are kind of being developed that will probably, I'm guessing, I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing that these things might even be available before Project X is, right? How they're going to affect the token, the project, what they're going to mean to the investors, holders, all that, I'm not going to talk about yet because I'll be honest with you, I'm not real clear on that myself, right? I see that what these things are going to do is really, really good. But I always want to know, how is that going to affect the investor? What is that actually going to do for the price action? What's that going to do for the people that are holding, right? And as we're talking, this thing is still going up. People are buying back in. And so I want to be able to bring you all that information. That's just a conversation that I need to have with these guys that I'll probably have over the next couple of days. But I just want you to understand how many things are actually being developed and worked on. It is constant work in the background by these guys on doing things that are going to make this into something grand, something spectacular, right? It's the goal. It's what's going to happen. It's determined. You should really, really, really do whatever due diligence you need to do to figure out whether you want to get involved in this one now. Because 3 months from now, 6 months from now, especially if the market starts taking off, we get further into this bull market, this thing is going to be a juggernaut, in my opinion. I really feel that way. So do whatever you need to do. Do whatever you need to do. And we will talk about, what did I just do? I don't even know. We'll talk about other things as they come up, but I just wanted to give you a little update. That's what's happening. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comment section. It really does help the video. It helps the algorithm to get out to other people, just like liking, subscribing if you're not subscribed, sharing it. All those things, we've got to work. We've got to get this going. Trying to get that listing on CoinGecko. CoinGecko came back and said, well, we're not seeing enough organic engagement. I think they're out of their minds. Anyone who's paying attention sees that it's actually going crazy. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to go back to the chart for another quick second because I forgot to actually look at something. And let me take you back over here. This up here, go. If you can see what I'm highlighting, where it says traders, 829. Last time I looked at this, I think it was like 770. And that might have been last night. That might have been this morning. I don't even remember. But we don't have an organic involvement or engagement. Yeah, I think we have plenty of it. Plenty of it. It is growing by leaps and bounds, this thing. We're coming up on 1,000 traders, and when we hit it, I think we're all going to celebrate. That's going to be awesome. But really, these are tiny numbers compared to what this thing is actually going to do. Okay, enough of me ranting and raving about it. That's how I feel about it. If you disagree, if you agree, let me know in the comments. I will talk to y'all very soon. All right, y'all. Ciao.